for the lectures, right? So if you want to find out more about us, you can always reach out, and then we will get all the information that you need across to you. So as I said again, I am Facilitator Leke, and I'll be the one taking us through this training. And the training is going to be for 30 days. We have started today. So what we are going to do is that we will skip weekends, okay? Because weekends, we are going to be busy on weekends. So we're going to be doing Mondays to Friday, okay? So all through for the 30 days. So let's just have our mind prepared, and let's know that we are going to benefit. Everybody is going to benefit. We are all learning, right? I, the facilitator, I'm also learning, right? The more we do it, the more we practice, the more we become better at whatever we are doing. So today, the first thing we're going to do today, let me share my screen so that you can see what is happening. So the lecture is recorded. Feel free to ask for it. Okay, so now, yeah, if you can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up. You can see my screen, give me a thumbs up. That's beautiful. Thank you, everybody. So now let's get started. I'm going to put the file we're going to use. So this file we're using now is the file that we intend to use for all the training. So now, if you look at this file that we have here, there are a lot of things, like a lot of exercises, a lot of things we are going to cover. You can see the way it goes, like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. So we have a lot to do in this training material. Okay, so let's start from the right beginning. From the beginning, we are going to be looking at introduction, right? We're going to learn what Excel is, what are the things to look out for in your Excel. So to start with, we are looking at advanced Excel training. Okay, so this is the participant workbook. The presenter is L. Johnson Academy. The first thing I want to do is I want to look at touring or the Excel interface. So we want to tour the Excel interface. There are certain things that we have listed down here, which we are going to touch one by one, okay? And at the end of the day, we believe that you will leave this lecture better than you have started it. So this is today's exercise, okay? As the class goes on, we're going to look at other things that we need to know. Okay, see, these are all the things we are going to be looking at: logical function, text function, lookup functions, statistic functions, mathematics function, and a lot of other things. Please make sure your mic is muted. If you are joining the training, mute your mic. Thank you. So today, because we don't want to waste time, we are starting from the right beginning, and we're going to be touring the interface. So this is Excel, basically. We discovered that in Excel, there is this giant toolbar, okay? This giant toolbar where you are going to see most of your tabs. You can see we have the file tab, we have the home tab, we have the okay, so we have yeah, let me try and open a real Excel template. I think this thing is not real Excel. Please just give me 2 minutes. Let me try and do something. 2 minutes. Let me open a real Excel. I think that one is WPS or something. Well, let me see. All right. Okay, let's just manage it. Okay. So when you look at this thing you are seeing, this giant toolbar, they call it the ribbon toolbar. So this is a ribbon toolbar. So on it, it has a lot of tabs. You can see we have the home tab. Here, look at this giant toolbar. We have a lot of tabs that are attached to it. We have the home tab. We have the insert tab, page layout, formulas, data, and so on and so forth. So this is what we call the ribbon toolbar. On this toolbar, you can find different tabs, and those tabs are always going to tell you what you need to do at every particular time. So a lot of functions, a lot of things, a lot of commands are on this ribbon toolbar, and it has a lot of tabs attached to it. So now another thing I want to show us is that the first one. If you look at my list, we have the ribbon toolbar. It's a giant toolbar. Number two, we want to talk about the file, which we also call the backstage view. Okay, the backstage view. So if you come to the top here, in this ribbon toolbar, you still see something they call file. So this is the file tab. When you click on the file tab, so it opens the backstage view. So this is how the backstage view looks like. So in this backstage view, this is where you do a lot of commands. You want to open a new workbook, you want to save, you want to print. You can press a lot of shortcuts. Control O to open a new worksheet, Control X to save, Control P to print, and a lot of all that. So this backstage view, this is not actually, it does not involve the content of your worksheet. Okay, this is where the files, this has to do with the files that you have in your worksheet. It's not the content at all. It doesn't have anything to do with the content of your worksheet. So if you want to leave this backstage view, you can simply press escape. Okay, but before we press escape, you must know that in every program there is what they call setting. It's just like going to setting on your phone. Please, if your mic is unmuted, please mute your mic. Your mic is unmuted. Mute your mic.
Let me chop that thing. Let me chop that thing. I swear. Let me chop her.
Hello, Catherine. Can you hear me, Catherine?
Yes, I can hear you.
You are disturbing us. You are disturbing this class.
Sorry.
Mute your mic, please.
Okay, sir. It's not. TikTok next class.
Okay, please, if you are joining the call, kindly mute your mic so that you don't distract whatever we are doing. Okay, thank you very much. So we are learning a lot of things we should learn. So we are at the backstage view. I told you to get the backstage view, you go and check on that your ribbon toolbar, you see a tab they call file. So from that file, that is where you're going to see. So I was also telling us that in your phone, at times you want to go to settings. Okay, so we can say this is like the settings of the Excel. So on this place, you can do a lot of things. You can go to a lot of here we have account, we have option, we have export. You want to export something into Excel, this is where you do that. Okay, you want to do a lot of things. So if you go to this option, with this option you can change a lot of settings on the Excel. So that backstage view is a place that is very powerful. When you go there, that is where you save your files, that is where you print, that's why you do a lot of things. But instead of you coming to this place, you can also press some shortcuts that will take you to all these places. Okay, so when you are done with the backstage view, you can easily press escape and then you are back to your home screen. So we've looked at what the ribbon toolbar is. I say is this giant toolbar that contains a lot of tabs. Okay, so you can see all the tabs, they are all going across. You can see the home tab. Okay, there are a lot of things you can do on the home tab. You can see insert tab, you can see page layout, and so on and so forth. Now there's a shortcut. In case you discover that all these, you want to get to these, all these, like the formula tab, the data tab, whatever. So if you press Ctrl+1 on your keyboard, right? You press Ctrl+1 on your keyboard, you will see that you have, that is the home. Let me close it again. Let's come here. If you come to the home tab, right, you will see alignment, you see numbers, you see style, you see cells and all that. To get the shortcuts, to get all these things without having to come to the top, you can just simply press Ctrl+1 on your keyboard. Okay, when you press Ctrl+1, you see your number, you see your alignment, you see your front, border, and so on and so forth. So most times I use this shortcut when I want to access the home tab functions. So that's that. So we've looked at that. Now the next thing we want to look at is what we call the name box. What do we call the name box? You discover that anywhere that is selected on the worksheet, right? On the worksheet, there's a name for anywhere you select. So if I want to check what this name is, the name of this place I select, I simply come to the left-hand side of the screen. You will see what they call the name box. In this name box, you can see that we have E2. That it means that cell E2 is selected. Okay, cell E2 is selected. So anywhere, if I click on this place where I have powering the interface, I can come back to the name box. I want to see the name of the place that is selected. So this thing here is called the name box. That is that. And the next one we have is the formula bar. You see that to the right hand side of your name box, you have this formula bar. I can make it larger. So this thing now, this is a formula bar. Okay, you need to know what those things are. The next thing you want to look at is what we call the quick access toolbar. Is right up here on file. So this quick access toolbar, these are the places where you store a lot of commands that you use often, okay? Without you coming to the tabs, you can quickly save them here on the quick access toolbar. So that is where you find the tabs that the commands that you use most often without you going to the ribbon bar to select them. Then another thing I want to do is that we have what we call columns. Columns, the alphabet, right? The alphabet are the columns. So we have column A, column B, column C, column D, column E, F, and so on and so forth. So just note that the alphabet are the columns, okay? So in a worksheet, okay, we have 16,384 columns going across in the worksheet. So if you start counting them from A, B, and so on and so forth, you're going to get up to 16,384 columns going across the worksheet. And that I want to look at also is what we call the rows. So numbers, they are always called rows. Okay, so here we have row 1, we have row 2, we have row 3, we have row 4, and so on and so forth. So note that alphabet are the columns, while the numbers are the rows. So how many rows do we have in a worksheet? We have 1,048,576 rows going across in a worksheet. So that is the number. So now if they tell you that how many cells do we have, just take the numbers of columns we have multiplied by the numbers of cells that we have. So if we have over 16,000 columns, and we have over 1 million rows, when you're multiplying over 16,000 times 1 million, you're going to be having over 17 billion cells. So now when we talk about cells, a cell is a combination of the column and the row. Okay, so if I click on anywhere in the worksheet, let me click here, you discover that if you go to the name box to know where I am on C3. I am on that place where column C meets row 3. So that is cell C3. Okay, they call it, two of them together, they call them cell. So on a standard worksheet, to get the numbers of cells you have, multiply the columns you have by the row. So 16,384. Let's do the magic. Let's see, equal to 16,384 columns multiplied by 1,048,576. So click on enter. You can see that we have 17 billion. So now look at this thing now. I want this thing to show like money, okay? So I want to put comma. So instead of me to go to the home tab, you know the home tab is here. You go to the giant toolbar, you see the home tab. Instead of me to go to the home tab, I can simply press a shortcut, Control-1, and it opens what is going to display when I press the home tab. So what do I need to do? I want to make this thing have a comma. So I go to the numbers, and I simply go and select maybe like number, okay, like this, or I can select accounting depending on what I want to achieve. Let me click on OK. Okay, so it's not giving me what I want. Let me click on it again and click Control-1, mute your mic. Then I come and click on either accounting. Let's try accounting, and then I think that is fine. Yeah, so accounting is fine. But other than that, if you don't want it to show all this dollar, do your undo, then come to your home tab and come and click on your comma. Okay, so this is what we have over here. We have 17 billion cells, over 17 billion cells. In case they're asking you, you should be able to answer that. Okay, so that is that. I've been able to tell you what the ribbon toolbar is. It's a giant toolbar that you are going to see And that giant toolbar warehouses all the tabs. We have the home tab, we have the insert tab, we have a lot of tabs, right? And I also told us that beside the tabs, you have what we call the file. This file is where you can call where your setting is. When you click on the file, it takes you to the backstage view. On the backstage view, you can do a lot of things. You can configure a lot of things on the Excel. If you want this thing to start showing some other tabs that are not here, you can configure everything from the file tab. Okay, so the backstage view. So let's cancel out this what we have over here. Apart from that, I also told you about the name box. This name box is where wherever you are selected on the cell, that is what it shows you the name on the board. And the next thing we also talk about is the formula bar, which a lot of people know the formula bar. The next thing we have the quick access to bar. Mute your mic. If you are joining this call, mute your mic. If you are joining the call, mute your mic. Okay. Please, if you are joining the call, please mute your mic. Okay, there are a lot of things we are going to do today, but you keep coming to disturb or to distract us. So I'll be able to explain all this to you. Now, what is Excel for? What do we use Excel for? Okay, now there are three basic things that we can use Excel for. The first one is Excel can be used for calculation. Excel can be used for chatting. Excel can be used for database features or database integration. So I want to do something. Instead of this is making noise, let me close the WhatsApp. Okay, so that's fine. So we'll come back to this place and we try and continue. So Excel can be used for calculation, chatting, and we can also use it for database features or database integration. So to move on, I believe that majority of us, we understand all these things. We understand the interface. Now, another thing I did not show us is that if you come to the bottom side of your Excel's worksheet, somebody is, yeah. You have a question?
Yes, sir.
You have it? Okay, so let's go.
If you want to create a JavaScript account, how can we
Okay.
go to it?
Okay, so we are starting newly. We are not
Okay,
answering this kind of question now. Thank you. And when you want to
okay,
ask any question, wait till the end of the class.
okay, sir.
Yeah. Mute your mic. Okay, thank you for that. So we now come over here. Now we've seen, until we are done with the lecture, please don't ask questions. Thank you. So now we've looked at all these things that we are talking about. So let's learn what. Who is this person? Mr. Ayomide? Is it Mrs. Ayomide? Whoever disturbs the class again, I will take you out of the call. So we come over here now. We've looked at all the things. Let's continue. Now you can see that in a standard worksheet, we have what we call, it has like, let me go to a new worksheet. So let me just press Control N for a new one. So now you can see that a new worksheet has only one sheet selected. Other worksheets in the old, like in the past, they have like three sheets opened at the same time. If you want to open an additional sheet, you can always press the plus button. You can open another sheet. You can also press another button. You can open another sheet. Then another thing that I did not tell us is that if you want to navigate through worksheet, there are some PCR buttons here that can help you to navigate through worksheet. Let's assume, let me go back to the normal worksheet we're using. So this worksheet now, you come to the bottom, you will see that there is some PCR button. If you click on this button, you keep going and checking other worksheets that we have at the front. Okay, if you want to go back to check any other worksheet, you can also click on it and you will see that it's going that way. Okay, then also down here we have this thing that is saying ready. It's saying that Excel is ready to carry out any command that you want it to carry out. Then there's another thing I want to show us here. You can look at this place. We have this zoom assembly. So this zoom assembly, you can use it to adjust whatever you want to have on the screen. So if you drag it to to the left, you are minimizing, right? If you drag it to the right, you are maximizing. Then there's another formula you can use, a shortcut. Hold your control key, and if you have a mouse, just roll the rolling wheel on your mouse. Okay, if you roll it in, you zoom in. You roll it out, you zoom out. So if you hold your Excel key, so let's look at shortcut that we've learned today. The shortcut that we've learned. Let me do something like this under here. Okay, so let me come here. All right, so let me do something like this. Okay, let me roll out. So Excel shortcut that we've learned today, I'm also put all right, so let's copy this. So number one, Excel shortcuts. Okay, let me name it like that. Okay, so Excel shortcuts. Excel shortcuts that we've learned. Okay, the first one we have, I told you can press to get the home tab, home tab, right? Functions of the home tab, simply press control plus 1. So you're going to get, sorry, on control plus 1, it gives you access to the home tab. So this is the home tab. If you come here, this is the home tab. So in the home tab, you can see alignment, you can see numbers, you can see style, you can see cells, you can see editing, and so on and so forth. So in order, if I don't want to come and click on home tab, let's assume I'm in another tab. Maybe I'm in the formula tab, and I want to access something from the home tab. So and I don't want to leave this formula tab. What do? Simply press Control 1 on your keyboard, and automatically it gives you access to what you have in your home tab. So that is that. Then number 2, I also tell you about when you are trying to adjust the font or the way either to zoom in or zoom out. So if you want to zoom in, for zooming in or out. So what do? Press you hold. Okay, let me just press control key, right? Then plus the rolling wheel on your mouse. So plus the rolling wheel on your mouse, that will enable you to be able to access, to zoom in or to zoom out. Okay, so in case you are following, you can always have access to this recording later. So that is how to do that. So to access home tab, for instance, let's say I want to put a box here. Let's say I have some, like this box that you see here, circling this thing. I had to press Control 1 to access it because you can see the border under your home tab. Okay, so let's assume I want to put a border here. Okay, so I'll just press Control 1. If I press my Control 1, you will see border here. Okay, you can see. Mute your mic. So you can see, feel, you can see a lot of things. Just press Control 1. So if I want to put a border, I can just come here, just click on this, select everything, and I click on OK, and automatically border is showing around what I have over there. So I can also put a border around this one as well. Press Control 1, and it shows me this dialog box for home tab, and I click on border. Okay, and then I click on whatever line I want to use. I click on outline, and then I click on OK. So these are just basic things that I feel that we should try and know. Then I've shown us what we have, where we have this zooming in and zooming out. Then the last thing that I want to show us is these 3 things that you have here. This is how you want your page layout to be. You can want it to be the normal that we are showing out. So this is the normal page layout that we have. If you want it to show as another page layout, you can click on it, and you can also click on this other where it will show page break. So the first one you're seeing is a normal layout. Okay, this is a normal layout. You can decide to now press this page layout at the middle, or you can decide to show page break. So if you want to see, like, you want to print out this document and you want to see where your paper one will end, where your paper two will end, at times this document may surpass one page. It can go fall into 2 pages and so on and so forth. You can always do that from page layout to see what you want to achieve. But I won't want to go into that now. So what I want to talk about before we are still building on the knowledge, okay? Before we now go and check other things. So I've already told you that what Excel is used for. Excel is used for calculation. I'm going to look at the difference between formula and functions. We're going to look at that in another lesson. So under calculation, we're going to look at the difference between formula. We're also going to look at the difference between function. So you discover that a lot of people, they talk about the new tax law. The new tax law, they are talking about rent relief. They're also talking about all the tax tables, right? So all those things were formatted using Excel. Now, if you know what you want to achieve in your mind, okay, and you have the knowledge of Excel, you can always use that to achieve anything. So when I was doing the training on payroll management, when I was trying to teach people the new tax law, I showed them how to create the new tax table that is going to be used to compute your payroll, like your payee. You want to pay tax to government now. You are an employee. You are working with any organization. You also want to calculate your own payroll. You want to calculate your own payee to know what you are paying to the government. I showed them how to create it just using Excel. So Excel is very wide. You can use it for calculation. You can use it for chatting. So you see that a lot of organizations, they want to know, okay, what is our sales for the month? Okay, so you can use charts to show whichever month that is doing well. Okay, probably you have January, maybe in January you made 30 billion. In February you made something that is not close to 30 billion. In April you made another sales. Like that, you can use charts instead of you just having figures. Like the way we have figures here, we have 16,384. We have 1 point something million. You can use charts to show all this data, and then visually people can easily see it and see at a glance which of those sales are doing well, which of the months is the sale very low. They can easily use chart to show it. Okay, visually you can easily see that. Then the next thing, we have database features and database integration. So a lot of people, a lot of applications, they use Excel as their database integration. When you want to use any other file or any other program to do some database calculation or all those things, they still come to use Excel. They will still open Excel and they make use of Excel when they are trying to do their database integration and every other thing. So Excel can be used as a database integration. It can be used for chatting. It can be used for calculation. Now, under calculation, we have we have formulas, we have functions. You must know the difference between when we are doing formula and when we are using a function. We are going to do that in another chapter. Then here, I want to teach us what they call referencing. If you are working on Excel and you don't understand the referencing, there are a lot of things that you will not be able to achieve. A lot of things are easy to achieve if you understand referencing. For example, in case you are given an assignment, let's say you go for an Excel, probably you went for an Excel exam, or you went for an interview, and then they say, okay, you say you're very good at Excel. They can use this referencing alone to test you. If they want to test you on referencing, they can just tell you, okay, come and create the times table, right? We have the times table, 2 times table. Okay, now you can just sit here and not know what to do. But when you understand referencing, you know how to do referencing easily. You can easily do this reference. You can easily do this timetable with just one click, right? You can just do this timetable with just one click. I can just put a formula here. From that formula, I'll just copy it and put everywhere, and automatically I'm done with the 2 times table. And people that we go for the training together, or for the test together, they discover that I have finished mine with one click, while others are still struggling. They don't know how to go about it. Now, the difference is that I understand referencing. Now, in Excel, there are two types of referencing. We have what we call absolute referencing. We have what we call relative referencing. I think this my spelling is wrong. Relative. So relative. Okay. So we have what we call absolute referencing and what we call relative referencing. So by default, Excel is always in the relative referencing. Okay. By default, Excel is in the relative referencing. What does it mean? It means that at every point in time, let me say I have numbers going across. I have 1, I have 2, then I can like go till I get 10. So I'm trying to show something. Let's say I have all these figures like this. Okay, so that's 9. Then the last one will be 10. Okay, then I have yeah. So I have this figure like this, right? And I also have, okay, so let's say I have that figure like that. Then here I also have another figure here. I have, let's say I have 9 here. So I want to do something. What I want to do is that I want to multiply this 9 by everything that is here. Okay, I want to multiply 9 by everything that is here. You discover that if I just say here, I just say equal to 1, right, times what I have here, and I click on enter, right? Then I decide that, okay, since there are data across, I want this 9 to multiply all these things. It become 9 times 1, 9 times 2, and so on and so forth. I just take it like this. Normally, I am supposed to just double tap this plus sign, or to drag it down. Okay, this is what I ought to do. But you discover that Excel is not giving me what I want, because here we are saying 9 times 1. Then the next one was saying 0 times 2, because now what Excel is doing is that Excel is giving freedom. Excel can act as it likes. So you are telling Excel, please, because you are pulling it down, right? You are telling Excel to be able to adjust itself. The formula, you are telling Excel to adjust itself. I say, mute your mic. Who is this person that is disturbing? Okay, so you are letting Excel have the freedom to be able to adjust itself. So it means that Excel is operating as it likes. But what we want to do is I want to keep Excel locked on this 9. That when we say 9 times 1, when we want to go again, we still want to have 9 times 2. We still want to go 9 times 3, 9 times 4. So what Excel is doing is that Excel is saying 9 times 1. Then the next thing is, as Excel assumes that there's a figure here, it's also saying 0 times 2, because there's nothing here, which is 0. 0 times 2, 0 times 3, anything times 0 is always going to be 0. So rather, instead of you having this kind of figure that is not correct, why not ask yourself, how do I make 9 to become permanent? And 9 is multiplying all this figure, and I don't have to start having to do all the formula, to start doing all the formula one after the other. So that means that if I don't have the knowledge of Excel, I want to say equal to, I'll now come and pick 9. I will now say times 2. That means I have to be doing it manually, right? If I don't have the knowledge of Excel. But with your knowledge of referencing, you can be able to determine which one should be absolute, which one should be relative. So by default, Excel is calculating as a relative reference. All the numbers, they are relative. It means that Excel will adjust your formula. So if I come here, I want to know what formula is actually applicable here, I'll just press Control tilde. There's something they call Control tilde. Let me also press it here. Let me also put it here. So if you want to know, let me put it here, number 3, another shortcut that we are going to have. Okay, we have it here to see the formula used in a worksheet. Mute your mic. To see all the formula used in a worksheet, mute your mic. The last one, whoever is disturbing now, take the person out of the call. So to see all the formula used in a worksheet, okay, what do? Just press Control plus, there's this sign they call tilde. I don't know how to show it or what I can use for it. Control tilde, or let me just type it. Control tilde. So there's this. So the sign is like a minus, but that minus is zigzag. Okay, so you have something like, I don't know how to put it. So let me show something like this. At this side, we have this kind of. Okay, I'm coming. Let me leave that place. We have this sign like this. The sign is like a minus, but is now zigzag. Zigzag. If you check your keyboard under your escape key, so check under the first letter, or no, the first key under your escape key, okay, close to your letter 1 on your keyboard is what we call the tilde key. Is like a minus, but is zigzag. Okay, so they call it control tilde. So that is what we press. You want to see all the formula in this worksheet. So what do I do? Let me just press control tilde. Okay, if you see control tilde anywhere there is formula, it's going to show me all the formulas that we have in the worksheet. Let me also check for other places. Where are other formulas? Is there any other formula? So there's a formula here as well. Fine. Any other formula? There's a formula here. So control tilde shows us all the formulas that are in a worksheet. Okay, so that is that. So you see that this formula is, let me press it again, control tilde. So let's look at the formulas. Okay, so this formula now, they are all relative referencing. They are all relative. It means that Excel can adjust any of the formula. So you can see here is having D51, right? After D, A, B, C, D, E, F. So it now went to the next. So let's look at this one. D. Okay, let's leave that one. I'm coming. Let me check. Okay. So now here we have D51. Then here we have D52, D54, D55. So it's adjusting the. Now in this case, you can see that D is constant. We have no issues with D because all the informations are on column D. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are all on column D. However, if you look at where 9 is on column. Is it column F? Let me do control tilde to go back to normal. So if I check here, this is 9, right? 9 is under column F, where column F meets row 51. Okay, so that is in cell 51. Okay, so this 9 is in cell 51. So what we want to do is that we want to make sure that everything is multiplying by cell 51. So what do we do? So let's press control tilde again to see all the formula. So we see that here we want to say what we need. We want F51. That is all we need. We want F51 to multiply D1, D51, sorry, D52, D53, D54. It's only F51 that we need for it to multiply, not changing to F53, F54, F55, F56, and so on and so forth. So what do? Let's now check back the numbers. So this is what we do. Now, we know that our information is on column D, right? Our information is on column D. What does it mean? It means that when our information is on column D, we can make column D to be permanent. Let it not leave column D. Let anything not leave column D. So we will now check anything in our formula that has to do with column. Column is alphabet, right? So let's click on here first. Let's see. This is D51. Okay. So it means that our D now is a column. We don't want it to leave where our D is because our information are all going across column D. Fine. But here, what is the issue? This one now is on column F. Yes, row 51. So for us to maintain what we are looking for, we need every of our information to remain on row 51. It should not shift away from row 51. So what we're going to do now is this. We now come back to the formula that we have. We come back to our formula. We now press control tilde. So what we're going to do is this. We know that our 1 is on D. So 1 is on D, D51, fine. Then our F, sorry, our 9 is on F51. So what do you want to do? We know that is in that row 51. That's where our information is. So let's make 51 permanent. So we now come here, we click on this, our F51. What we now press on our keyboard is we press F4. There's what they call F4 on the keyboard. To press your F4, let me see if I can see my F4. Sorry, I need to do it again. My F4 is on the keyboard. I'll just press F4. So F4. Now, you see, when I press my F4, come to your formula bar. Check when I press F4 on the keyboard. The F4 I press is putting a $sign before F, is putting a $sign before 51. So that is what we call absolute referencing. Anytime a $sign appears before your alphabet are your columns, your numbers are your rows. So anytime a $sign appears before your alphabet or before your numbers, it means you are making that alphabet and that number, you are making it absolute. What does it mean? It means that when you are using this in a formula, Excel cannot leave where you make absolute. We are making column F absolute. We are making row 51 absolute. So anytime you see a $sign before an alphabet or you see a $sign before a number, that is what we call absolute referencing. On in norms, Excel is always in relative referencing, okay? You will not see any $sign. Excel is always in relative referencing. It means Excel can adjust the formula wherever you like. But if you want Excel not to adjust the formula anyhow, then you have to now lock it. It's like you are locking your formula. You don't want Excel to be able to adjust that formula, okay? So let's now press Ctrl tilde again. I press Ctrl tilde and okay, sorry, let me click on enter first. Then I press, so you can see now, yeah, I have D51. There's no $sign at all. So anyone that does not have $sign is in relative referencing. But anyone that have $sign is in absolute referencing. There's a $sign before F. It means I'm making my F absolute. There's a $sign before F. I'm telling Excel, don't leave F. Okay. There's also a $sign before 51. I'm also telling Excel, don't leave row 51. So I'm telling Excel, stay on this place. Don't leave row 51. Don't leave column F. That's what I just did. So with that now, we can get something reasonable. So let's redo our formula now. So let's now come back here and let's now double click again. So when we double click, you can see now automatically we only had to adjust one thing. Only one thing is what we adjusted. We only tell Excel, make 9 absolute referencing and leave the rest to be relative referencing, because this is only where our data is. We want to lock everything on 9 so that Excel will not leave 9. Okay. So, and that is why Excel now is now multiplying 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5. So we have looked at what absolute referencing is, and we have looked at what relative referencing is. I said absolute referencing, Excel is always calculating in relative referencing. Okay, by default, Excel is always in relative reference. So to make Excel absolute reference, you need to go to wherever you want to make a absolute reference, then press F4 on your keyboard. So let's come here, another shortcode that we've gotten, number four, another shortcut. Okay, now we have absolute referencing. Okay, so I now come here, I say to change from relative referencing, to absolute referencing. comma, press F4. Sorry, F4 on your keyboard. So press F4 on your keyboard. So are we together, everybody? Are we together?
Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
we are.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Mute your mic. Mute your mic.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir. Can we have the record, sir?
You will have the record. Don't
Video.
worry. You will have it. You will have it. Don't worry. We are still building on the knowledge. Don't worry. We are still building on the knowledge. So now I've shown us how to get absolute reference and how to get relative reference. So now let's now move and go to this our classwork. But before we do that, let's still try other things. Okay, let's try other things. So I told us that I told us that columns are. Who can tell me what differentiate between a column and a row? What is a column and what is a row? Just raise your hand if you want to answer. How do we know that something is column and how do we know that something is row? So that when we are having $sign, we can tell whether is our column that has a $sign that is absolute or is our row that is absolute. So let me see. Somebody is raising his hand. Let me see. Let me click. Okay. Let me ask somebody. Madam Augusta. So how do we know that something is a column and how do we know that something is a row? Yes.
Okay. Good evening, sir. That's Augustina.
Okay, Augustina. Sorry.
Yes. A column is the ones that are numbers. Sorry, the ones that are alphabets. That's the column. A, B, C, D, to and so on. Then the rows are the ones that are numbers from 1 downward. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you very much. It shows that you are paying attention. Thank you. You can mute your mic. I want to ask another person another question. So now, by default, how is Excel calculating? How is Excel calculating? So let me ask Madam, does anybody have dropped their hand? Who can answer the question? By default, okay, yeah. So answer it. Okay, go on and answer.
Okay, by default,
Yes.
Excel calculates in relative
Okay.
referencing.
Thank you very much. So how do you change from what shortcut, what key do you press to change from a relative reference to an absolute reference? Jacinta.
F4. Okay,
Okay,
sorry.
to change from relative to absolute, you use the function key in the F4 key to do that.
Okay, so just press your F4. Okay, so it's perfect. So I know why I'm asking this question. The reason is because we are going to go and try a classwork, and that classwork we need to understand in details what we are doing. So let's come back to our worksheet again. Let's come back to our worksheet and yeah. So in this our worksheet now, we're going to do something. Okay, we'll do something now. Here we know that here we have. So this is what we're going to do. Just give me some minutes. So we want to use this thing in a formula. So let's come back to this, our formula. We want to come back to the formula. Oh, sorry. I press Control 1, which is going to open the home dialog box. Okay, that's not what I need. I want to get Control tilde to see all my formulas. Okay, so here is Control tilde. I'm seeing all my formulas. So now I see that here, my column F has a $sign in front. My rule 51 also has a $sign in front. And I can see that F51 is what I have going across. But what are we multiplying by? We are multiplying by D51, D52, D53, D54, D55. Okay, so it means that our D and our 51, this our cell D51, they are in relative. Cell D52 relative, cell D53 relative, cell D54 is relative, and so on and so forth. So let's go to our classwork and let's try something together. Maybe we can be able to understand from our classwork. So we come back to our classwork. So this is the classwork now. So this classwork, we have numbers, right? So this is the multiplication table. We have numbers here. Column 2 has number, column 3 has number, column 4 has number. But you can see that numbers are just going like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Can we say the numbers are going on columns, or the numbers are going on rows? Where can we personalize these numbers? We have 2, we have 3, we have 4, we have 5. Can we say these numbers, they are on columns, or can we say they are on rows? Who can tell me?
Please, I can't see the slide.
You can see the slide. I think it should be from your end. Kindly log out and log in again. So, madam, if your hand is still up, can you lower your hand so that you can now raise your hand if you want to answer? Okay, so yeah, I think Adiola, do you want to? Adaobi, do you want to answer the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So the number is on the row, not column.
Okay, so the numbers are going across on the row. So you can see that this row 1, and
Yes.
on row 1, that's where we have all the numbers that are just listed on 1. So don't feel that because here we have column B, we have column C. You can see that here we have different columns. We have different columns that are coming across these numbers. But if you click on row 1, the numbers are all going down on row 1. So we can say row 1 has the numbers, right? That's fine. And that I want to say is that here we have row 3, row 4, row 5, row 6, row 7, and we have column A. So who has the number? Is it column A or row 3, row 4, row 5? Who has the number now? Is it column A or all these rows, row 4, row 5? So don't unmute your mic until I ask you to unmute, so please. To avoid disturbance, mute your mic. Thank you. So let me call on someone. Mute your whose mic is unmuted. Well, let me check the person's mic that is unmuted. Somebody's mic is unmuted, and I don't know why. Who is this person? I'm coming, let me check. Please be careful. Make sure you are not distracting our call. Thank you. So and that will be, your hand is still up. Do you want to answer the question? Olawale, do you want to answer the question? Femi, Denu, do you want to answer the question? Who of you?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
I want to answer the question.
Okay, let Emil answer now. Emil has not answered any question. So yeah. So where do we have the number now? Who has the number? Is it the column or is it the rows?
Column A. Column A.
Column A has the number. So you can see the way we are able to track this thing. So if you want to get a good multiplication table now, it means that our row 1 is very important to us. Then our column A is very important to us. So these are the things that are important. Our column and our row. So which of the rows are important? Row 1 is very important to us. Then we have column A is very important to us. So let's now see. If we come to this place now, we come here now. We want to multiply, Abby. We want to multiply. We will say equal to, right? We want to multiply. We will say here. Now we have, when I selected 1, what is it showing here? What's showing here on this page? What is showing here?
A3.
A3. So which is important? Is it A or 3? You know, we've answered it together. Which is important here? Is it the A or the 3?
A.
A is important. It means that is our A that we need to make absolute. So we now press our F4. We press F4. Yeah. So when we press F4 once, both the A and the 3, they are both showing $sign, but that's not what we want to achieve. We press the F4 again. Now this time around, only 3 is showing the $sign, but 3 is not the important thing here. 3 is not the one that has it. It's A that has it. So we press our F4 again. Yes, now we now have our $sign and A. right? Then 3 does not have any dollar sign. Fine. It means that we are locking column A. That is where our numbers are going across. We are locking column A. Then we leave the row to be relative. You see that here, our column is absolute, but our row is relative. It means that Excel can shift away from row 3, go to row 4, go to row 5, go to row 6. But you see this, our column A, Excel should not leave it. Excel should remain on column A. That's what we are telling Excel. The next thing we want to do is I want to say multiplied by, we now come and click on 2. So this 2 that we click on now, what is it? What is it showing? What is it showing?
B2.
B1.
B1. So what is important here? Is it the B? Is it column B that is important, or row 1 that is important? What is important?
One.
Row 1. It means that our row 1 is what we need to make absolute. So we click on that place and we press our F4. So once you press your F4 once, both of them are showing dollar sign. We press our F4 again until it's only one that we want to have the dollar sign. We press it again. So now we have B relative, and then we have 1 absolute. Mute your mic. Mute your mic. Thank you. So we now click on enter. So now what I've shown us now is very simple. I've just shown us that here is where we have the data. Here also is where we have data. So if you are able to take the places where we have the data, if you take them seriously, the places that we have the data, if you take them seriously, you are going to get your answer well. So we have gotten one formula. So let's just copy that formula. If I want to get all the answers at a go, I copy the formula, then I just come and put it everywhere. I'll just put the formula everywhere, and automatically Excel is going to get me the answer. So I just press Ctrl V, and automatically you can see what we have. Voila. 2 times 1 is giving us 2. 3 times 1, 3. 2 times 2, 4. You can see what we just did now. We are just working with relative and absolute. If you understand this concept, you are good to go. This is like you just need to get only one formula. Get one formula. When you get the one formula, right, and you've told Excel that, okay, this is what I want you to maintain, and this is what I don't want you to maintain. Excel will still get you the answer you are looking for. So let's do something else. Let's do something else, right? Let me press Ctrl Z, right? Let's press Ctrl Z. Let's now clean away. Sorry, Ctrl Z, right? Then let me now cancel this thing. Now let's now go to the last place. The last place in this worksheet is where we have our formula. Oh, let me clean all this place also. Sorry. Let me clean all this place also. So I clean it. Oh, what am I doing, sir? Okay, so I come over here, I clean all these things also. Yes. Now, based on the idea that we already have, let's now come in, let's click on this place. Let's say equal to, we click on equal to Abby. We now scroll to the beginning. Let's scroll to this beginning like this. We click here. Okay, now if you check your formula bar, you will see that here is what? What is this place? A what? 814, Abby?
814.
Yes, so still using what we said. What is important to us? Is it the A that is important to us, or is it the row 14 that is important to us? What is important to us? A. A is important to us.
Hey.
So we now come here, we now click on our F4. We click on F4. Oh, sorry, I didn't press F4. I think I did something else. So let me close this thing. So let's click here. We now click on our F4. Okay, we click on F4. Yeah, so this is our F4. When you click your F4 once, both A and 14 will be having dollar sign. Let's now click on F4 again. Yes. So now only 14 is having the dollar sign, but that's not what we want to have. We want to have A having the dollar sign. We click on F4 again. Yes, now A is having dollar sign. A is having the dollar sign. Y 14 does not have any dollar sign. Fine, we are good with that. Let's now press times Let's now click on year, right? So now we have L1. So since we have L1, this is our L1 now. What is important to us? Is it the L or is it the 1 that's important to us?
The one.
The one is, yes. So we now click here and we'll now press our F4 again. We press it first. Everything has $sign. We press it again. Only one has $sign. We are fine. We now click on enter. Okay, so you see that you get the answer here. So if you copy this thing now, copy it, put it anywhere. Copy it here, put it here. Oh, sorry, that's not where we want to put it. Let me cancel out. The reason why we have 0 here is because under our A2 there is nothing.
There's no number there.
There's no number there. Yeah. So let's cancel out. So let's put it here, or let's put it anywhere. Let's copy it and put anywhere. Oh, I didn't copy. Let me copy again. I copy it. I come and put it anywhere. Ctrl V. It will adjust, right? Because I've done the right thing to Excel. Excel now is now saying 9 times 1. That's why it's having 9. Okay, so let's copy it again. Let's come and put it here. We come to V. You see, here it's saying 8 times 5, and it's getting us 24. So once you are able to get your formula right, anywhere you put your formula, Excel will adjust it based on the instruction you are giving Excel. Let's copy it. Let's come and put it here. 3 times 5 always give 15, Abby. Let's copy it again. Let's come and put it here. Yeah, let's say there's a place we have 5 times 5. You put it here. 5 times 5 will give you 25. So once you were able to set that formula that you have set it, you know where the numbers are. Numbers are going across here. Numbers are going across here, and you are able to adjust your formula well. You are going to get your answer that you need. So alternatively, we can also copy everywhere and put all our formula. Just press Ctrl V and everything we adjust. So yeah, now if you go for any interview and they ask you to do the multiplication table with the knowledge of your absolute and relative referencing, will you be able to know it or not? Only one answer is what I need. Will you be able to get it or not?
Yes, we'll
be able to get it.
Thank you very much. So you still need to go further to now practice on your own, okay? You already know that when you see a $sign is saying you are locking that place. You don't want Excel to move away from that place. And when you lock it with $sign, that is what we call the absolute referencing. It's different from relative referencing. So we're going to move further, okay? We've looked at a lot of things here in this lecture. We've looked at what referencing is. We know that Excel is operating as relative referencing anytime, any day. We also know that we can always get our absolute referencing by pressing our F4, okay, on the keyboard. We also understand that Excel is used for 3 major things for calculation. When you are doing calculation, you can be using formula or you can be using functions, okay? So these are the 2 ways we can do that. Then the next thing, Excel can be used for charting also. Excel can also be used for data integration, database integration. Then the next thing we also look at, as we are working, we had some shortcuts that we took into cognizance. The first one is to get the Home tab dialog box. You just press Ctrl+1. To be able to zoom in and out, you can click on anywhere, okay? Click on anywhere on your worksheet, then hold your Control key and also your rolling wheel on your mouse. There's this thing that looks like a ball. If you roll it, on your mouse, if you roll it out, you are zooming out. You roll it backward, you are zooming in. So you can use that to quickly adjust. Instead of you to come to this place and start using your hand to, to be dragging this thing out and in, you may not get the actual place you want it to be. But if you use your rolling wheel on your mouse, you can easily roll it out and you can also roll it in. So apart from that, we also look at what we call Control tilde. Control tilde enables you to see all the formulas that you have on your worksheet, all the formula or all the formulas that you have used in any of your computation, or even if it's function, you can see all of them in your worksheet. And that's what we also learned is that when you want to change a referencing from relative to absolute, you can always do that by pressing F4 on your keyboard. The next thing we also learned the interface of Excel. We talked about the ribbon toolbar. We talked about the file. We talked about the name box. We talked about the formula bar. We talked about the quick assets toolbar. We talked about the column, the rows, and so on and so forth. So let's now do something else. Since we have exhausted what is here, and since I've shown us relative and absolute referencing, let's now leave here. Okay, let's leave here and come to what we have on this, our main lecture. So this is our main lecture. Okay, in this our main lecture, we are going to be having different sections. There's a section where we have logical functions. Okay, logical functions is one. Number two, we are going to have what we call text function. We're going to have what we call lookup functions. We're going to have what we call, okay, so this here we have dates, right? You have dates here. We're going to look at what we call statistical functions, and then we are going to look at mathematical functions. So I believe when you have all these functions on Excel, then you also have all the other shortcuts, right? There are a lot of shortcuts that you can also learn. If you have all those things in your head, and then you also know the difference between a function and a formula, it's going to go a long way to assist you in this journey. So let's look at the first thing that we have. The first thing that we have here is the if function. Okay, we have the and function, we have the or function. Okay, before we delve into this, let me also try and explain to us the difference between a function and a formula. So we can have a formula. When we are looking at formula, most times formulas use most of the things that we use in mathematics. When we say this cell plus this cell, we can say this cell minus this cell. So let's quickly check. Let's come back to this this thing we are using. Okay, let's say want to use formula, right? We can, this thing that we did here now, this is a formula. Sorry, I said yes. So this is a formula. Yes, we are saying this D51 multiplied by F51. So that is a formula, right? So F is a formula. Yeah, most times. So that is whenever you are using multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, what you are doing in all those mathematical stuff you normally do. When you divide, you multiply, you subtract, all those things you are just doing formula. Okay, you can say this plus this divided by this. But when you are doing functions are inbuilt. They're inbuilt formulas on Excel. You have your normal formula that you can use. You can say one cell divided by another cell. You can say one cell minus another cell. So whenever you are doing that, you are doing this thing. So let's look at it. We can do something like this. Let's check. We can do something like this. We can say equal to, want to add, okay? Let's say want to have, we can say equal to this cell, right? Plus this cell, 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 plus this, plus this, plus this, plus this. So you press enter. So this is like you are doing formula, okay? And another thing that you should not do is that this another thing must not do. So we can do this one like this. We are looking at how to add addition. Let me just copy this one now and talk about addition, okay? Let's copy this and talk about addition. Rules for adding. Rules for adding. Okay, so we are looking at so let's look at addition rules. Addition rules. Yeah, so the rules for adding, you can see that here we are using formula, right? This formula, D5 plus D something. So you can also do something like, you can say this is one answer, right? We can also say equal to, we can, so now you are using a formula now. Formulas are inbuilt. They're inbuilt, they're inbuilt, sorry, functions are inbuilt formulas. So I say equal to, I want to sum, I just say sum, right? And I open my bracket, then I can come here. I want to sum all these plays together. I want to sum it together. I close my bracket and I press enter. So you can see that both of them are giving me the same answer. So what are these are do's. This, if you do this, you are still correct. So what are the don'ts? You can add this way if you want to add. You can decide to go and add manually the way we are doing. Like, okay, by going to press, like you are just starting Excel. You can go and be adding like this. Fine. You're going to waste a lot of time, but you're still going to get your answer. It's fine. It's still good. Then you can also go ahead and use function like this. 2 minutes, you are done with what you're doing. It's still good. Now, what you shouldn't do is this. This is what you shouldn't do for when you're adding. Don't do this. Don't say here. Don't say equal to a. Don't now start saying 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. Okay, if you do that, you're still going to get your answer, right? This is an answer, this is another answer, this is another answer. So what is wrong in all this answer? Can somebody tell me what is wrong? Can somebody unmute or raise your hand if you want to answer the question? Raise your hand, then I'll select somebody to answer. You can see that all the answers, we still got 55, right? Okay, so let me see. Let me check the people that are raising their hands. Okay, so we have and that would be, yes, I'm listening to you. You can unmute.
Okay, sir. So the third one you did was a manual imputation. It was not done with either a function or a formula.
Okay, so
that's my answer.
So what is wrong in it? We still got the answer. So what is now wrong in it? Since we still got the answer.
Okay, what is wrong in it, in my own understanding, is that we are working on Excel spreadsheet, and for the third one, what is wrong with it is that we did not use either a formula or a function. It was done, the figures were input manually.
Okay, so you have still not told me what is wrong. You tried, but you still not told me what is wrong. Okay, so
Sir, can I talk, sir?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so what I think is wrong with it is that we imputed manually the values in those cells. So what will happen is, if the values in those cells change, then our answer becomes automatically wrong for the third one.
That's good. That's what I want to hear. Thank you very much. So that's what I wanted to hear. She got the answer, but she didn't get the main point. The main point is this. What we are doing, she understood that we have to work with the content of the cells, right? She understood that. But what she did not remember is that, what if these things change? Let's assume I change this one now. Let's say, or maybe I made an error, or somebody mistakenly changed this figure to something else. So you discover that every other thing is correct, right? Every other thing is correct, but this one will not be correct. The reason is because we are not working with the content of the cells. And anytime anything change in the formula, or sorry, in the cell, our answer here will still remain the same, because we're not working with the cells. So at every point in time, don't work like this. If you work like this, you'll be working like a market woman that does not understand Excel. So a market woman now, she wants to add this one now. She can just say, you can just put here and say equal to, right? So we know that whether you are doing a formula, we are doing a function, you have to start with equal to in Excel. Fine. So a market woman can just say equal to, because she knows that she will press a calculator whenever she wants to add. And when she wants to add, she already know that they say press equal to, and then she now start by saying equal to 51.66 plus 18 plus 27 plus 36 plus 45 plus 54 plus 63 plus 72 plus 81 plus 90. And then she pressed enter and then she's happy. She said, wow, I've gotten it. I know how to use Excel. But it's wrong. The reason is because if there's a mistake or there is an error and then you have a lot of data and then you feel that you have gotten your answer, probably your supervisor just check and see that something is wrong and thinking that you have already formulated everything, that everything is well automated, and then you just decide to change one thing and say maybe this is wrong, just decide to change this number and it calls it maybe like just 50 or 51, just say, okay, this should be just 51 and the other one is error. Discover that this will not change. The error you've made is made automatically, it's permanent, but it's better you add the cells, use the content of the cells when you are adding. Don't add like you are using your calculator. Don't add in Excel like you are using your calculator. I don't know who I'm talking to in this class, but I know that such person understand that there's the difference between using formula, using function, and then just adding like you are using a calculator. So there's a difference between that. So also we come back here. I said that we're going to start the first one, which is going to be the logical function. So under the logical function, we are going to see the if formula, right? Function, sorry to say. We're going to see the if function. We're going to see the and function. We're going to see the or function. So let's use that. And when we use that, I will also take us to how to calculate your payroll. Okay, in payroll now, they are only talking about your rent relief and also your tax table. Okay, so that will take us to that. So because we are using if function, I also take us to go and learn that. So it's a bonus. It's a bonus for us. I hope we're enjoying the class, everybody.
Yes, sir.
we're enjoying it.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Thank you. It's enough. So now we now come back to this our sheet. So let's look at it. I said we have the first one we're looking at is the logical function. So under the logical function, we have the if function, we have and we have or. And I have to tell us. Now, when they say something is a logical function, it means that you are telling Excel to think. You're asking Excel to think, and Excel is going to choose an answer logically. Whenever you are using an if function, you are making a statement. Whenever you do use an if function, you are making a statement, and then you are giving Excel the option to look at that statement you have made and decide whether the statement you have made is wrong or the statement you have made is correct. So let's come to this our sheet here. So we are going to call this one the logical function. We come here, we put logical function. So here we call it logic, right? So logical function. So now under the logical function, we are going to look at three. They say one is the first one is the if, right? The second one is the and the last one, which is the third one, is the or. So what are we saying? Whenever you are using an if function comprises of three things. Okay, so let me put it here. So let me say, so now another function, another shortcut I want to teach us. If you want to edit the content of a cell, you can see that this cell now is not, I just highlighted it, right? If you want to edit the content of the cell, we can do it in different ways. You can double tap your keyboard on it, your mouse on it, sorry. So let me do it again. If you want to edit the content of a cell, right? You can either double tap on it or come and click on it again. You can press F2 on your keyboard. So let me check. My light is off, but let me check for F2. You can press, oh, I've deleted what is inside though. Let me press Ctrl Z. Okay, so now let me now press F2. So there are two ways in which you can edit the content of your cell. You can either use your keyboard mouse to double tap. You are going to edit it, right? So I want to edit this logical function. And let's assume I made a mistake. I can either double tap. Sorry. What am I doing? Sorry. Okay, so I can either double tap. Okay, if I double tap, my cursor will be showing, and I can go ahead and edit whatever I want to edit. That's fine. Number two, I can just press my F2 on the keyboard. So let me do something again. Sorry. I press my tab because I wanted to see light. Let me undo. I come here, I click on this place, then I press F2 on the keyboard. So once you press F key on the keyboard, automatically it edits the content of your cell. So that is another shortcut that we are learning, shortcut 5. Okay, so editing the content of your cell. So I say press F2. Press the F2 key. Or double click. Double click with your mouse. So that's another one. Okay, so that's another one. So to edit the content of your cell, you can either press F2 or you can double click the cell. Okay, you can double click that cell. Okay, I think something is saving. Let me see. Uh-oh. Okay, so we're done. So let's now come over here. Now we're learning the logical function now, and I want to take my time to teach us. I just remember that, and I said, okay, let me go and let me also share that with you. So if you're having a logical function is the 3 functions we are going to have. Is if, and or. So whenever you have an if function, okay, an if function is made up of three is made up of is the if function. Let me come here. The if function is made up of 3 things. Number 1, a statement you make. You make a statement, okay? A statement. Number 2, right answer. The right answer to that statement. And number 3, we have the wrong answer. The wrong answer to the statement. Okay, so whenever you're making an if function, an if function is made up of 3 things. Okay, you are going to make a statement. In an if function, you make a statement. When you make a statement, then you now set 2 answers. The first answer is the right answer. The second answer is the wrong answer. So what will Excel do? Excel will go and check that statement logically, right? Excel will check that statement logically. If that statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer. If the statement is wrong, Excel picks the second answer. And let's now check. If you want to now, let's now say we want to work on the rent agreement, right? The government said, let's look at what the rent relief is saying. The rent relief. Okay, so let's come here, and you are using, let me delete this one. Let's look at what the rent relief is saying. Let's copy this. Okay, we now come here, I click like this. Okay, so let's look at the rent relief as it relates to our tax, our new tax. So rent relief. So I already told us that we want to learn the if function. And I said that the if function is made up of 3 things. You are going to make a statement. When you make a statement, then you now let Excel query that statement. Is that statement correct? The Excel query the statement. If the statement is correct, Excel picks the first answer you set. Okay, so after the statement, you have an answer. Then after that, you have another answer. So if Excel see that your statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer. If Excel see that your statement is wrong, Excel picks the second answer. So what are we going to do? Now, the government said that the rent relief is the lower of 20% of your annual rent, or 500,000, sorry, or 500,000. So that's what the law says. If you want to claim rent relief, right, you must compare 20% of your annual rate, compare it to 500,000. Whichever is lower is what you're picking. Okay. So now let's assume that your annual rent, okay, your annual rent for this year, 2025, you spent let's say 1.7 million. Okay, you spent 1.7 million on rent. Now you want to now claim the rent relief, right? So the law is saying that you have two options. Sorry, you have just one option actually. It's either, yes, just one option. So your relief you are going to claim is going to become equal to, calculate either 20% of this your annual rent. Oh, sorry. Did I just make a mistake? 20% times the annual rent times this one, right? Or this is giving us like let's make it, sorry, let me close this one. This is giving us, let me make it visible. So 20% of your annual rent is 1.7 million. Then they say that to get a relief, you have to check 20% of your annual rent or 500,000, whichever is lower. So if you check now, this person that paid this kind of rent in a year, you check it to 500,000. It's discovered that this person is to only claim 340,000 because 340,000 is the lower of 20% of the annual rent and 500,000. So let's assume it's easy to compute like this. Let's assume we now have like 1 million staff in your company, and you need to calculate this thing. You need to do this thing for them. You can easily use if function to do it. Okay, you can easily use the if function to do it. And how do we do that? Let's first understand what the if function is saying. Whenever you use the if function, you are making a statement. You can say that. Let's come here. You can say. So let's do something. Let's assume we have three workers. We have Dele. We have Taiwo. We have Said. Yeah, so I'm just calling names, right? If your name is that, sorry. Then yeah, we have let's say we have the rent relief here. This is where we want to have, we normally have our salary, we have the basic, we have the housing, we have the transportation, and so on and so forth, right? I don't care. But what I'm interested in is that when you add everything together, you're going to get your gross salary. You're going to get the gross salary, right? After the gross salary, so let's just put figures quickly. So let's just put figures quickly. Let's say 500, 1, 2, 3. Let's say this is okay. Yeah, put quickly. Let's just put figures. Yeah, another time I want to show us now. You have this thing now. Let me show you something. Let me delete all these things now. You have these three data, and you want to put figures here. You want to put figures here. You want to put figures here. You want to also put figures here, figures here, like that. You don't need to start pressing this one. Put like this, then press your tab. Go like this, press a tab. You don't need to start doing all those things. Then also now take your keyboard and come and click here again. You are wasting time, right? You are not supposed to do that. So what are you supposed to do? Let me delete all these things like this. What you're supposed to do is that highlight anywhere you want your data to fall. Okay, I want my data to fall here, right? For Dele, Taiwo, and Said. So I start typing. There's a place that is highlighted. That is where we start the stuff from. So just start, I'm typing, right? When I'm done, I press tab, it goes to the next place. I type again. I press tab again, it goes to the next place. I type. I press tab, it's going to the next page. I press tab, I press tab. You see that I don't need to actually leave what I'm doing once I know where my data is. So at the end of the day, I click away. So that is another thing you should learn. These are tricks of Excel. So I don't need to start typing in all the space one after the other. No, I don't need to start doing that. Then the next thing you want to do, there's something I did not show us when we're adding. If you're adding, the last thing you can do if you're adding is you can also use a shortcut. So let's go and press the shortcut for adding. When adding, there's a shortcut for adding. So number 6. Oh, sorry. When you're adding, we have a shortcut for adding. So we come here. When you're adding, let's put this as number 6, right? So formation, auto sum, or auto sum. To get your auto sum, you press Alt plus the equal sign. Oh, sorry. Alt plus the equal sign. That is the auto sum shortcut. Okay. So if I come here now, I want to add this thing. You know, here I added manually cell plus cell plus cell. The next one I say the sum function, which I say sum. I open my bracket. If I want to add without me having to press anything, I can just come here like this now. I just press Alt equals to automatically. That's the shortcut of adding. Just press your Alt, know where you want your answer to be. Then when you put your equals to in that place, no, sorry, let me undo. Let me press enter first and undo. Okay, so I want my answer to be here. Okay, what I just did, I just need to put my cursor there where I want my, just click on it once, then press your Alt equals. You hold your Alt key and press your equals to, and then you're going to get your answer. So that is what another shortcut that I talk about. Alt plus equals to is another shortcut that I feel that we need to know. So that's that. Alt plus equal to, that is the auto sum stuff. Let's now go back to this place. Okay, so we have our recs. We have we have our gross salary. We now do our summation. So let's say Alt equals. Okay, so we're adding across. Alt equals. We add. Oh, okay. So there is it's too long. So let's reduce let's reduce it. Let's make them like 1,000. So let's reduce it. Let's say 20,000. Tab 30,000. Tab 40,000. I press the tab again. 50,000. I press tab. 60,000. I press tab. 70,000. I press the tab. 80,000. I press tab. 90,000. I want to press 95,000. So that is that. So we've learned that also. Now to add across now, I said hold your Alt key and press your enter, and then it's going to add across. So that's fine. The next thing you can double tap like this. It's not doing. Just drag it down. Fine. So we've gotten our gross, right? So to get our pension, our deductions now. So all these ones now, these are your salary breakdown. This is what your salary breakdown is. You have the name of staff, name of staff. Okay, so let me now make it bold. Control B to make bold. Fine. Then I want to put this thing in a box. So I'll hold everything like this and I'll press Control 1 to get the home dialog box. When I press Control 1, when I come here to border, click on the line I want to select. I can click on outline and all that. Then I click on equals to. Okay, so that is all in a border now. Fine. So the next we want to do now, we've seen what make up our gross salary, right? Mute yourself. Oh, mute yourself. So we've seen what make our gross salary. Then the next thing is that apart from this, we now have the deductions that is allowed. So if you, in case you have other things also, maybe you have a dressing allowance, you have whatever you have. all of them, you add everything, you have going to get your gross salary. Okay. I'm still trying to tell us the if function. Just follow me step by step. The next thing is that we know that deductions now. This is your salary. Then we have some things that are allowable deductions. So let's now look at the allowable deductions. Allowable deductions. Deductions. So our allowable deductions is what we want to now check now. Under here, the first one is pension. Your pension is an allowable deduction. What else is an allowable deduction? You have your NHF. NHF is an allowable deduction. You have your personal, your group life that you did for yourself, the premium for your group life, premium that you use for your group life and that of your spouse, premium of group life is also an allowable deduction. Okay. So then lastly, we also have what we call the rent relief. The rent relief is also another deduction that is allowed now. So what do we now do? How do we get all these things? So let's just say we just want to get only pension. Your pension is always going to become equal to, you open your bracket, you say this plus this plus this. You close your bracket, then you multiply by 8% times 8%. So 8% of your basic housing and transportation, that is what your pension is, right? Then I think your NHF should be like 2.5% of your, is it your basic or your gross? I'm not so sure, but let's leave that. What we are concentrating about, it's gross. Okay, so it's 2.5% of your gross. So we're not saying here equal to.
Please, sir, we can't see it. It's not showing that side you are working on.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's only showing.
Are you sure?
Yes.
We
Just
can't see
zoom
the
it,
screen.
zoom it.
No, it's showing. Maybe you're already zoomed in, so just zoom out your screen.
Okay, I'm coming. Hold on. I'm coming. Let me zoom out. Okay, so yes. So I think what they meant is that is you that you are on the call. You are the one that
Yes, it's better now. I'm using a phone. That's why it's not.
You are the one that zoomed out. It's not me. You are the one that zoomed out.
Yes, it's okay,
so
sir.
Okay, so now let me zoom again so that others can see. Okay, so this is it now. So yeah, your pension is 8% of your basic housing and transportation. We know that is fine. We want to just click that down like this. Okay, so all these are deduction, but these are not what I'm even particular about. What I'm particular about is actually your rent relief. So how do we now calculate our rent relief? We now say, what is the formula again? We want to use if formula. I said that whenever you're using an if formula, you are going to set three things. You're going to make a statement. When you make a statement, then you also now set two answers. One answer that Excel will pick if the statement you made is correct. Another answer that your Excel will pick if the statement you made is wrong. So let's do something like this. So this is the premium, right? And then this is our taxable income. So let me just delete all these ones. Let's assume we don't have NHF, we don't have group life. So let's assume the only deduction is just our pension. So to get our taxable profit, because we need it, we now say taxable profit equal. So we now come here equal to. Now remember, this is annual, right? This is annual. So our taxable profit, we are going to multiply it by 12 to be annual. Let's assume all these things are monthly, okay, because they are too small. 90,000 gross salary. The person will not pay any tax at all. So let's assume this is a monthly salary. So we're going to multiply it by 3 to get our taxable. So we now come here, we now say equal to, we now say that our gross salary minus before we do taxable, let's say we'll get our rent relief. I just remember, before we do our taxable, let's get our rent relief first. So let me delete this one. So let's get our rent relief first. So the rent relief, how do we do it? rent relief. So let's make a statement now. We want to make a statement. We're going to say equal to, but before we do that, let's also have where we have our actual rent. So let's come and put our actual rent here. So we have our actual rent somewhere here. We have our actual rent. We have our actual rent here. So yeah, let's assume this guy, the actual rent he paid was 1.7 per year, or whatever it's per year. He paid 1.7 million. The other one paid 2 million. 1, 2, 3. The other one paid an actual rent of 4.5 million. Fine. So that is what they pay individually. Okay. So we want to now formulate our rent relief now. Let me come here and come and put a comma so that we can see it well. So let's say we want to formulate our rent relief. We now say to get our rent relief, let's use an if function. We know that an if function is made up of 3 things. We make a statement. We now say equal to, we are always going to start, whether we are doing a function or we are doing a formula, we are always going to start with an equal to. We now say if, okay? We now say if, we now open our brackets. We want to make the statement now, right? So just say equal to and put your if, open your bracket. We want to make the statement. We want to say, hold on. No. Yeah, so we say 20% times our actual rent, right? We are making a statement to 30% times our actual rent, right, is less than 30% of our actual rent is less than 500. Sorry, is less than 500. So we've made a statement. We say 20% of our actual rent is, or let's say it's greater than, let's use greater than 20% of our actual rent. Oh, sorry. So 20% of our actual rent is greater than, so let me do that, please. 30% of our actual rent is greater than 500. It's greater than 500. So I've made the statement, right? I'll put a comma. I'm making a statement too. You can say I've made the first statement. I told you that your if function is made up of 3 things. The first thing is I make a statement, right? And look at it. What's our actual rent? Our actual rent here was the first rent I put here is 1.7. So I'm making a statement. I say 20% of our actual rent is greater than 500. That's what I put here. I took Excel. So if it's correct, if it's actually greater than 500, I tell Excel I'll set the answer now. I say pick 500. If 20% of our actual rent is greater than 500, then pick 500 as the relief. However, if it's not, then pick 20% times our actual rent, which is on N84, times N84. Then I close my brackets and I press enter. So look at what I just did now. I just made a formula. So let me make this thing broader. Let me put a comma. Okay, now this is it. I already know that. I know that what the law is saying is that our rent relief should be just lower of 20% of our actual rent, or 500,000, whichever is lower among both of them is what we should pick. So in a situation whereby you are earning a rent, you incur a rent of 1.7, right? You are supposed to actually take 20% of your actual rent, which is this amount. We've done it before. Now you now compare it with 500,000, which is lower. That's what you're going to pick. So here we are supposed to pick 340,000, right? So it's what Excel also pick here. Why? Because we made a logical statement and we are able to tell Excel exactly what the law is saying. The law is saying 20% of your actual rent or 500,000, whichever is lower is what you pick. So what did I say? I said, whenever you're making an if function, you're making a statement. Excel will check that statement. If that statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer that you set for it. However, if that statement is wrong, Excel will not pick the second answer. So your answers, you always separate them with a comma. When you finish making your statement, you also separate it with a comma. So let's check what our formula is, Control tilde. So let's go and check what our formula is, Control tilde. So I press Control tilde. Look at what I said. I said equal to if, I want to make a statement, and I said 20% of my actual rent. What's the 20% of my actual rent? Who can tell me what's 20% of my actual rent?
340.
340.
Yes. So I'm making a statement. I say 20% of my actual rent, which is 340, is greater than 500. Is it true?
No.
No, it's not true. So I now set answer. If it is true, if my 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000, I already know that the law does not give me more than 500,000. So it's the lower of the two. If my actual rent is lower than 500,000, I will pick the lower. If my 500,000 is the lower of my actual rent, I will still pick 500,000. So it's the lower of the two that I should pick. So that to Excel, I said 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000. And I know whenever 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000, the highest I can pick is 500,000. So I now say 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000. I'm done with my statement. Then I now set the answer. I put 500,000 because if 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000, I am not allowed to take more than 500,000. So when I say 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000, I put a comma, then I now put 500,000. Check the formula bar, you will see it clearly. So when I say 20% of my actual rent is greater than 500,000, and I say comma, if it's true, pick only 500,000. But if it's false, if it's wrong, take 20% of my actual rent. That's what I said, and I click on enter. And because I click on enter, let me press Control tilde again so that we can see the figures. So when I click on enter, you can see that here, because my actual rent, 20% of it is not up to 500,000. So Excel simply picked the wrong answer because my statement was wrong. Excel picked the answer that
Lower.
Excel picked the answer. Now, what Excel is doing, Excel does not know which is lower or which is higher. Excel is just following the statement. I'm telling Excel, I'm saying 340,000 is greater than 500,000. That's why I told Excel. Excel know that is wrong, that is not true. So if Excel know that it is wrong, and now set an answer that Excel should pick. If the answer is true, Excel will pick that answer. But if the statement I made is false, Excel will pick the second answer. And that is what Excel picked here. Excel picked 340. So this now, I can just come and just drag it down. And automatically, Excel is going to do the same thing that I did here for all these people. If I have over 1 million people, Excel is going to do the same thing for everybody. And you are not going to have problem with the government. You won't have problem because you are treating the thing exactly the way government asks you to treat it. So today, we have had an interaction with the logical function. So what I said the if function is made up of three things. A statement, which Excel is going to check if it's true. Then we are going to set answers that Excel should pick. The first answer is what Excel will pick if our statement we made is correct. The second answer is what our Excel will pick if our statement is wrong. Okay? So on that note, I think we have done well for ourselves for today. Tomorrow, we will continue from logical function. And then tomorrow, we now go and look at the tax table. But the tax table now, they told us that the first 800,000 should be at 0%. The next, the next 2.2 million should be at, 15%? Yes. Then the next 9 million should be at 13%. Like that. So tomorrow, we're going to use Excel to also formulate it and see what we have. So question time. Let's ask question. And let us be orderly in our question. Orderly in your question. We are almost done. Question time, quickly. Who is asking question? Raise your hand. Mr. Olawale, do you have a question? Okay, Foluso, yeah, let's go quickly. Foluso, do you have a question? Foluso, are you there? Okay, let's ask Miriam. Miriam, go on. Do you have a question?
Okay, thanks for the lecture. It's really helping. My question is on this rent relief.
Okay.
Is it that for the rent relief we just assume for the staff, or we have to know the amount that they are paying for their rent? Because it's kind of
Thank you. It's easy. It's not difficult. You can see that when I was doing this my computation, I put the actual rent. It means that for you to compute this thing, get the actual rent of the staff, right? So how much rent did they pay? Probably let's say they are going to pay. I did not read that well, but I know that your rent, like you pay rent in advance, right? So you can pay rent for 2026 now, already in 2026 at the beginning. Maybe like in January, you've already paid rent for 2026. Okay, and then I'm not so sure whether the law is saying peak rent of 2025. I'm not so sure. But I know that you need rent agreement, okay? You need your rent for this thing. So I just assume that, okay, rent that we're going to use, since we are computing payee for the year 2026, we have to use rent of 2026, okay? So you need to also get the rent that they are paying or the rent that they are to pay. If they know the rent that they normally pay for their house, and let's say they know that they will still pay it in 2026. So that amount is what you need. So that amount, you need to put it here. Arrange everything based on all the stuff you have. If you have 1 million staff, you need to get all their rent that they're paying in a year. Arrange everything. Then now understand the if formula. If you understand the if formula, you can do the if formula to help you pick the lower 20% of your rent. Use your mic. Let me have that one. Madam, use your mic. Madam, Chloe, goodness. Can you mute your mic? Thank you. So you discover that your rent, okay, you must get your rent. That's what I'm trying to let you know. You must get your rent of every staff. And that's what you're going to use in your computation. So it's as easy as that. So when you want to now nest your formula, you can ask me. I can also guide you. But I've shown you that once you know what you're doing, you understand the law. The law is saying the lower of 20% of the actual rent, the annual rent, and 500,000, whichever is lower is what you're picking. And that is what I use for my formula, okay? So that's what I use for my formula. And I told you that I use the if function. The if function is made up of 3 things. It's a statement you have to make. Excel is going to check the statement. If the statement is correct, Excel will pick the first answer. The statement is wrong, Excel will pick the second answer. So I think that is that. Any other question quickly?
Sir, it was the network the other time when you called me. Well done, sir, for the job done. Please, sir, I believe we are using the same Excel because as you are teaching us, open my Excel, but
Okay.
I discovered that what you are doing is like I'm unable to do it on the Excel.
Okay.
Now, oh yes, on the issue of the one, that absolute reference, I try it, I didn't get it. Then you wrote if, then we should press F2. I pressed F2, same, I'm unable to get it. So I'm not thinking maybe what there's another Excel using that is different to us. So that is my question, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful question. So if you check your laptop, it depends on the kind of laptop you are using. There are some laptops that they have what we call second is it second function they normally call it? There is one thing that is going to be, there's a function. I'm trying to put on, there's no light here. There's something that is between your Windows key and your control key. If you check the bottom of your key keypad,
Yes, FN. FN.
So that FN, I don't know, maybe your keyboard needed to press that FN before you can access your F2. I don't know. So try it. Try holding your FN before you press your F2. It is going to work for you. Do you understand? So there are some keys that have more than one function. So if you have more than one function, you might need to hold your FN, okay, the second function, to be able to access what you are pressing. So is that FN that you should check? It's very, very important.
Thank you. Then, sir, what of the absolute reference I'm unable to get you to? So please.
It's the same thing now. Hold your FN and
Okay.
press your F4. Hold your FN and press your F4. It's the same thing. So that is that. It depends on the kind of system you are using. If the kind of system you are using does not permit that, then you try other things. Yes, Madam Woda. Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for this great sacrifice.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much. In fact, it's an answered prayer for my 2026. God will bless you more. Thank you very much, sir.
So you
Is
are in,
that-
hold on. So you are in
Sir?
one corner. You are in one corner. You are praying for God to use me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's all right.
And God answered my prayer through you. God will answer your prayers too. Thank you, sir.
Amen. Amen.
Actually, I've been wanting to know more about Excel.
Okay.
So, and immediately I saw the opportunity, I had to grab it as fast as possible.
Okay.
Please, I joined the class late, so I don't know if the class was recorded.
Yes,
Abi,
the class was recorded. Yes. So
Okay,
if you can
sir.
see that is recorded, can you see?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Would that be all?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other question? Because it's 9 p.m. and we need to close. Any other question,
Yes, sir.
Madam Augustine?
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah,
Please,
you're
you can.
welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Okay. So I will upload the recording on our YouTube. Do well to